Hi everybody, this is just a quick overview of the CiT 1055 or 1055 case. As you can see, the box is down there, or C1055. I bought this case. I think it's a relatively new edition as of late September 2019, and I've not found any user reviews of the case online. So I thought I'd give my own, put it on the internet, let everybody see what it's about. It's a very cheap case in the UK, selling for around 24, 25, no sorry, 28 English pounds sterling. So it looked interesting on paper. Obviously it's a very budget case, so like basically be going over its major pitfalls. Obviously I've took the front of the case off here. It doesn't look like that on the front. But you do have to remove this front panel here to gain access to the ability to mount the fans. The fans actually mount on the inside, so over here behind this front panel, but you need access to the front to get the screws in. Taking the front panel off was a bit of a nightmare, to be honest. It's working on these, let me see if I can show you, these six standoff points here that like push close. Now you would have thought that's not too bad, and it isn't really, but the access to some of them is terrible. So I had to use some long nose pliers to get it out. You just couldn't get the required strength in your fingers to take some of them out, and I've got small hands, so something to bear in mind. I'm not intending to put this back on until I've pre-fitted all the fans and everything. I'm taking it off once and that's it. The good point though is none of the front mounted I/O is incorporated into the front of the case. This strip here is just for the front RGB lighting, which will be a nice rainbow effect when it's done. Now just to go about the build quality here, I mean, this is literally, it's a piece of lightweight plastic which is acting as a light shroud for the for hiding the LED strip. If you can just see it down there, so it really is a very flimsy case, but we'll forgive it for its price. If it looks good at the end of the day, then yeah, all will be forgiven. Although I suspect working into this thing is not going to be the most rewarding experience. So here's the front of the case. I'll just briefly go over this. You got this, as you can see, there's a vent all the way down the side. But as you get to the top, that you can just see that area there. That area becomes, let me just focus. That area is more blocked off. There is some degree of a gap in it, but essentially no airflow is going to be going through there. So you're basically working from basically three quarters of the way from the 3/4 of the way up to the bottom of the front of the case is where you're going to get your ventilation. So and given the gap narrows as well as it goes up the case, I'm not sure there's any real benefit from putting a top fan in. I'm not sure how much more effective it's going to make. You're going to want something that's got good static pressure to pull air through there. Regardless, I'm just going to be putting 2 fans in the bottom, I suspect. Standard non-RGB fans. It's all kind of like behind here. You've got the RGB strip on the front anyway, so I can't really see much benefit on that. Putting that to the one side then, looking at the case itself, we have a hinged door, which is a bit of a surprise. I thought this would be a panel which just comes off on 4 thumb screws, but no. I mean, the thumb screws are absolutely terrible. They're like plastic heads. You know, they're as cheap as they could be, but they do the job. And ta-da! It hinges and lifts off. Now this is a 2.5 to 3 mil piece of clear acrylic with a kind of frosted edge around the side, like a textured effect. It's not blacked off, it's like a textured effect. So yeah, cheap basically, but as long as you don't scratch it, it should look okay. And it gives you a nice large window into the PC area. It's into the body of the case itself, so not too bad, not too bad. Let me see if I can get that to focus. There we go, there you go. So I'll put that to one side and let's have a look inside the case at what you've got. I mean, this thing is so light, I can pick it up with a couple of fingers. It must weigh 2 kilos, if that. It's really, really the thinnest metal. But it seems relatively sturdy, and I haven't cut my fingers on it yet. Everything is somewhat finished, so it's there's no. It's just thin metal. It's a bit. It's you know, it's not razor sharp. So props there, I guess. Looking inside the unit, we've got a couple of 2.5 inch mounting bays here and here by the looks of it. Supports. Oh, it does come with an RGB exhaust fan on the back, by the way, so that should look quite nice. I'm interested to see how that looks when it's all up and running. Supports ATX and, well, ATX, micro ATX and mini ATX, but this is a seriously compact case. Your ATX board's going to come up to here. You know, these are like your pins for your ATX size. I suspect mini ATX is going to be working off these. I'll probably have to move some of these lower ones up, I suspect. I'm not quite sure which position. Obviously it's set up for ATX as supplied. You only get 6 standoffs. Oh, actually, there's a few more in the bag. Yeah, there are a few more in the bag. You've got some spare screws and standoffs in there. 6 pre-applied and some spare ones. So, yeah, okay, not so bad. There is also, if I take the back off, bear with me, it's a couple of extra thumb screws. A removable hard drive cage, I believe, working off a single screw just here. You can just see it here. I think that is for a 3.5 inch bay. Again, it's like 0.5 mil pressed steel sheet, so it is extremely flimsy. That works off a single screw here, and then there's like a, if you can see it down here, there is basically a catch, and the metal like goes inside a little pocket here, so that holds it at the bottom. You just like lift it up. There you go. I'll show you that. There's your lip there. That goes into that hole there. You can see. So extremely flimsy, but again does the job, I suppose. You can't complain too much, and it feels quite sturdy once it's in. 0 vibration dampening, obviously, in case this cheap. Given your hard drives, you've probably got like quite ample space for some cables here. You've got the most basic of dust filters, although there is a dust filter on the bottom for the power supply unit. There's no dust filter on the front. Yeah, so that might lead to build-up of dust inside the case, I suppose. Now, just going to the top, looking at this, you're thinking, there's going to be something removable here, potentially to increase airflow. No, this is just a pressed pattern on the sheet with this kind of like hexagonal honeycomb structure. It does actually allow for slight air ventilation, but that's only going to be passive. There's no way to fix a fan up here. There's no screwing points. Yeah, it is what it is. It's for prettiness. It's not for ability to mount fans. Front I/O, you've got 2 USB 2s, USB 3. That one's blanked off, so if you know how to fit another USB port, you could potentially put another one there. Power switch, LED indicators, power switch, and then on the side, which side is it? Just I've lost it. Might be on the front of the case. It's probably on the front of the case, isn't it? Yeah, of course it is. You've got an RGB flick switch, so you can change between LED effects there. So that's nice, kept out of the way on the side of the case. Yeah, what else is there to talk about? Obviously, you've got like this 3/4 window, and then the base is got this like pattern effect on it. It's kind of replicating some features of the Fantex P300 in the window size and the NZXT H500 with that 3/4 window. And yeah, I think it's and then obviously we like the hinge door. That's kind of like replicating the N through Evolve, not the ITX version that has a just a standard side panel, but the mini ITX tempered glass or the higher end ATX one. They both have the hinge doors, both sides actually. So it's good. I quite like that feature. It means you can quickly get into the case and just mess about if need be. The ports on the back, obviously they just snap off, so once they're off, they're off. And you've got a single screw here for loosening this cover plate. That's not a thumb screw, that's just a standard screw. So yeah, that's a quick run through of the case. I don't think you can really argue too much for £28. I think once it's together, as long as you're careful with the cable management, it could look quite tidy. It's not going to be the world's best airflow. It's not going to be the quietest. But I tell you what, it is so light. It's going to make a nice portable small build that. I mean, just to kind of like give you some kind of perspective, let's try and find a sheet of A4 paper. Show you how wide this thing is. I mean, it's like 330 millimeters. You know, it's a tiny case. It is tiny. Yeah. It's smaller than the Fantex N through Evolve ITX case. So, yeah. And this supports an ATX board, so you can't really complain too much. The graphics card's going to have, with a micro ATX board, which I think is what I put in here if I remember correctly, it is not going to have any trouble with airflow. Your graphics card's going to be all the way up here, so you're going to have plenty of access for airflow. As long as you've got fresh air coming in from the front, it should provide a reasonable cooling for the graphics card. So yeah, that's a quick overview. Once I'm got it all built up, I'll show you what the finished product looks like. Thank you.